I feel like we're at a crossroads in the world right now. I feel like we're getting to a place where we're doing things in our society that there maybe isn't a turning back from. I think we live in a rough world. I think we live in a world where you turn on the news and there's something bad happening every minute, and after a while you just feel helpless. What can you do?
You know how you watch television and you're scrolling the channels and you run across those channels for Feed the Children, or there's these little babies with bellies that are all swollen, and somebody's there asking for your money and telling you with just a small amount of money you can make a big difference. Most of the time we have a tendency to just scroll past those channels really fast because we're afraid that if we stop and listen very long that something will tug at our heart and we will end up giving.
I don't think there can ever be enough giving. I think that the world lacks people being compassionate to other humans.
And a lot of people, I think, unfortunately have the attitude that it won't make it, what I do won't make a difference. Well, that is so untrue.
I think you have to be so isolated and so insulated not to care about what's going on in the world.
You know, we have people in the community that are impoverished. We have people in the community that suffer from domestic violence or victims of domestic violence. We have teens in the area that need counseling and they need help. We have folks in general that need help with crises they're in, or maybe disasters that happen in our lives. You probably would be able to think of either a family member, a friend, or a coworker that has needed one or more of those agencies.
Many of the folks that we see, many of the folks that other agencies see, 2 years ago weren't in that situation.
There's always a possibility that you may need these people someday. And even if you don't, you should support their cause, because it could be maybe not you, but it could be a friend, a relative, a granddaughter. Anybody can, you know, end up needing help at some given point in time in their life.
America lives one paycheck away from homelessness, I'm telling you, even people that have the money.
We are oftentimes a couple paychecks away from any of us being homeless.
Because in the world we live in, everybody lives paycheck to paycheck. You lose everything in one time. There's no way to put it all back. I remember seeing the house burn down. I was the first one on the scene. I was thinking I was going to help a neighbor, but it ended up being my house. And I remember seeing it going up and thinking, how are we ever going to get back? Because you see everything going. You know, we didn't have any insurance. So everything went, and there was no getting it back. There was no policy to help us out.
I've been homeless 3 times. No one ever understands how painful it is for people.
You cannot take anything for granted. The wonderful life that I have could be very easily taken by violence tomorrow.
I was in a very bad, abusive relationship that if I hadn't gone and stayed there, I probably would not be sitting here today. Well, because you never know when it's going to be your family or somebody you care about that's affected by it. You may think that, well, this would never happen to me. You know, I had a wonderful family.
I think a lot of people in a lot of different areas want to keep it all within and feel like that families will take care of families. In reality, that's not realistic.
We are all in one global village, and we have to look out for our neighbor. We have to care about each other. It's what we have to do if we're going to survive and succeed.
Now more than ever, we really need to be nice to each other. We really need people showing that we care about each other.
I just think it's a human responsibility. That's our humanity. That why not care?
You don't realize what you really give to a person until you're in that position where you need to receive the help back.
Doing nothing doesn't just cancel out the bad. If you do a good thing, it builds forward.
And when everybody comes in and they help you and you have no idea who they are, it humbles you because you have to accept something you didn't earn, you didn't deserve it. It's just the generosity of other people's hearts, and makes you see the world in a different light.
When I was a kid, I had a pretty rough growing up, and there were a number of people. There were teachers that would watch me when I came to school and buy a book for me now and then because they knew that my family couldn't afford it and things like that. And sure, it made me feel like the world was like somebody cared about me in the world and that I was worth doing things. I think it makes me more empathetic, and also because of my experiences, I'm sometimes more able to recognize what's really going on with a person.
I can spot a homeless person pretty well in the cities. I mean, if I go to a city, the first place I go is I go look for the poor people. Because I think if you do that, if you go in the poorest areas to see what they do there, that's the heart of the city.
I think a lot of people are mistrustful of agencies and organizations that are asking for money. They feel like they're tapped out.
No adrenaline high could ever touch the feeling that you get when you see that you've made a difference in someone's life.
It's kind of hard to explain, but you get this feeling down in here.
So many times we go to cheer somebody else up and find out that they're cheering us up.
And it comes back tenfold. Sometimes financially, always spiritually.
It's knowing that you at least help one person, and that's what it's all about.
We all, at the end of the day, know that we might not have changed the world, but we may have made a dent.
That's my blessing. I'm the one who gets to give this back. You guys help me pay for it. I'm the one who gets to take this basket and give it to those people. Maybe with on top of the groceries, a little toy for the children or something. That's your blessing.
There is a sense in which when we give to others, we look away from our own needs and our own problems, and we understand there are people that are much worse off than we are. And when we can bring a smile to their face, a little joy to their day, it enriches our lives.
If you're looking for depth, if you're looking for hope, if you're looking for spirituality of any kind, give. Give from your heart.
And I think it was maybe 3-4 hours after the fire, the Red Cross people were right up to my mom and dad's door. They came right in with vouchers to help us to be able to buy clothes for our kids so that they didn't have to wear somebody else's underwear, or, And I know that sounds crazy, but to a mom that means a lot. That you can go out and you can take care of buying your kids their own clothes, and you can buy them the things that they need, the essentials that they need. When you go into a place to live, you're going to have your first month's rent. You're going to have a deposit. You're going to have food to stock your cupboard with. Those are things that you don't think about. You don't put money away in a rainy day fund to replace your whole life. But the Red Cross and the United Way are there. And they're there because there are people behind the scenes that are making it happen. And they're making it happen because there are people out there behind the scenes of them giving. Without those people giving, we would never be where we are today.
What if one of your friends came up to you and asked you, why should I care? What would you say to him?
I really don't know what I would say.
If we could just communicate, this is what we, the people of Ross County, see as being our needs, and we could just step up to plate and support those. I have to trust that. I have to think that's a great way of raising support. I think that would be greater than running tax levies.
And the next time I see a fire happen, the next time I see something, a tragedy happen, and I hear that the Red Cross helped, I know where my money's going.
I love being able to let somebody use my shoulder to cry on, because everybody needs it.
What really matters to me is helping people who want to help themselves.
So I think we can make a difference in our neighborhood if we just take the time to do it, and we do it one at a time.
Everybody who makes a difference and everybody who actually cares and they believe the things that matter will strengthen the community, and that just makes a better place to live.
Why should you give to United Way, or why should you support groups like Youth Crime Watch or the YMCA? Because these kids are going to be us someday. And I want somebody to do what I'm doing when I'm not around to do it.
My standpoint is, how can you not care?
If that happened to you, would you want people to care?
Maybe the world's givers and takers. I don't know, just draw your lines wherever you want.